Well, nearly 20 years in the making, a remarkable agave plant is now producing rare flowers. Fox 13's John Hopstead is live at the Defiance Zoo's Botanical Garden with a special look at this tall plant. John, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, Aaron, we're here at the Desert Plant Collection at Defiance. Of course, it's raining here and kind of cold here on this Thursday. We're joined by Brian Jones, who's the horticulturist here, and this whole thing is really your brainchild, including this amazing agave plant.
Yeah, this plant right here that we're looking at, the artichoke agave, it's been growing in this landscape, the desert garden, for about the last 17 years, and it's finally doing its thing. It's making this giant flower display up above as it's doing its end of life. And
this is what it does at the end of its life cycle, right?
It's exactly what it does. Agaves pretty commonly, the last thing they do is send up a gigantic floral display like this, and that marks the end of its life. But if we look at this plant, we'll see little babies that are on the side called offsets. So those plants will grow for the next 17 or 18 years, and then we'll see that happen again. So the plants themselves, pretty fun. There's so many things about these plants that are unique.
Well, also when this started, you were telling me they were roughly the size of what we see now with these pups, right? You could hold this plant in your hand when you put it in here.
Absolutely. They were probably about the size, just a little bit bigger than this. This plant fit in my hand. And so I've been able to watch this plant for all these years. I've stood behind it. I've told stories about it. And now I get to kind of bittersweet watch it go goodbye, but in a blaze of glory with this beautiful flower.
And really, this just happened over the last few months where it kind of jumped up here to, I guess it's pushing 15, 20 feet in the air, right?
It's at least about 15 plus feet in the air. It started around the beginning of May, and the stem goes up so fast. It's been a little bit longer watching the flowers open up. And those flowers up there, they're full of nectar, like little swimming pools of sweetness, so that in habitat, the hummingbirds and bats would go to them to pollinate them.
And that's the whole idea, right? Bring the flowers out, and that will extend its life on with creatures that come to get the nectar.
Absolutely. That's one of the ways it reproduces, through the flowers that then can make seeds, or through the offsets that come out from under the ground with this.
This is obviously not a plant we see in our area around the Northwest here, not native to us. How difficult was it to keep it alive? You told me that really it's done well here.
Yeah, good question. It's like, this is a mountain agave. So in parts of the deserts, we actually have mountains. So if you think of like Arizona and Flagstaff, Arizona, it's actually high elevation. And in those areas, as long as the plants like agaves can take the cold, we can make it so that the roots down below get kind of sandy soil and the water drains away, and have success with these in the Northwest.
You're telling me you don't tend to get sentimental with plants, but with this one, you kind of made an exception?
Yeah, it's like most of the plants in the zoo, they have stories connected to the animals, connected to people. And I didn't realize that I kind of formed a bond with this plant. Because like I said, I'd stand behind this and I'd use this to tell the stories of the other plants in this desert bed. And it won't be here next year to tell those stories.
Right. We think of, the animals here and the marine creatures at Defiance, but you've really created quite a display here with this desert landscape. And this was started about 20 years ago as well, right? When you brought this one in.
Yeah.
All of this.
I've been at the zoo 19 plus years. And so, yeah, this landscape, our plants in our botanical collection, as we call it, they're here to tell stories. They're here for visitors to come and learn about how do they connect to the animals, how do they connect to the people. This landscape here is so much bigger than it was. It used to be just mostly rocks, and now we see plants all over the place from all around the world in this bed.
It really is amazing. And again, how much longer can we expect to see it like this before it's the end?
Yeah, so what we're going to see is probably 2 to 3 weeks with those flowers, the yellow poking out up there at the top. Will happen for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then the stem itself, though, will still stay here all the way into fall. And if you go walking around like in the Southwest, you'll even see stems of this that are all brown from the year before, until eventually the weather kind of makes it deteriorate and they fall over. So we're going to see the stem for many more months. But the flower displays, if you want to see those, come see them in the next few weeks.
All right, Brian, thanks so much. Again, you got a couple of weeks if you want to see these flowers and this blooming agave. It is amazing to see. Also, they're going to have a talk this Sunday at 10 a.m. here if you want to learn more about this or this whole desert setup here at Point Defiance Park, as usual, Point Defiance Zoo. And guys, we're going to send it back to you. We're going to have more on this in the next hour. We might actually get the ladder out and climb up here and check out this nectar up close.
Ooh, that's pretty
stick
cool,
around.
John. I like that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Learning something new here. Okay, we'll look forward to your next report.